Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. This is Group 5 from Module 10. Kant and Right Theories. Immanuel Kant, he is a German Lutheran theologian and philosopher, and he is the most influential in the age of Enlightenment and Western philosophy. So, ito yung explanation niya. So, Immanuel Kant is a German Lutheran theologian, the one to emphasize the justification by grace through faith alone, and philosopher, and also Immanuel Kant is the most influential in the age of Enlightenment in Western philosophy, or the power by which humans understand the universe and improve their own constitution. So, si Immanuel Kant daw is, he has three known books: Critic of Pure Reason and Practice Reason, and Critic of the Power of Judgment. So, ito yung explanation nila. So, Critic of Pure Reason ay nakukuha tayo ng mahalagang kaalaman sa mundo sa pamamagitan ng dalawang kapasidad ng sensibilidad at pag-unawa. So, ang susunod ay ang Critic of Practice Reason. Ito daw ay karaniwang formal sa halip na material na isang balangkas ng mga simulanin sa pagbuo sa halip na isang mapagkukunan ng mga tiyak na tuntunin. So, ang panghuli ay ang Critic of Power of Judgment is the act of subsuming individual specific case within general concept and rules, above all in a practical context, as with a doctor's cold counsel. So, yun yung tatlong critic. And next naman is about Immanuel Kant. So, he greatly influenced by David Hume, known for his categorical imperative and inspiration for German idealism. So, ang explanation ng categorical imperative ay mga utos o batas moral na dapat sundin ng lahat ng tao anuman ang kanilang mga hangarin o mga mangyayari. So, si Immanuel Kant daw ay pinanganak siya noong April 22, 1724 sa Kaliningrad, Russia. And namatay din siya noong February 12, 1804 sa Kaliningrad, Russia. So, si Immanuel Kant daw din ay inaral niya ang theology sa Universidad ng Königsberg, and ito din ang mga magulang ni Immanuel Kant, si Anna Regina Reuter and John George Kant.
Kantianism, or Kantian ethics, is a deontological theory that emphasizes morality based on duty, reason, moral principle, moral obligation, and motive or intention. It rejects consequences as the basis of morality. Kantian ethical framework is considered as a moral universalism or moral absolutism and moral formalism. Ang ibig sabihin ng Kantianism or Kantian ethics ay isang pilosopiya na nagtuturo na ang tama at mali ay dapat nakabatay sa tamang layunin, hindi sa resulta ng aksyon. Ayon kay Immanuel Kant, dapat gawin ang tama dahil ito ang nararapat. Kahit walang kapalit o benepisyo, binibigyan din nito ang respeto sa lahat ng tao, na hindi dapat tratuhin bilang gamit o paraan para makuha ang sariling interes. Ang desisyon ay dapat na ayon sa mga panuntunang pantay para sa lahat. Kaya ang moralidad ay nakasentro sa katapatan, hustisya at dignidad ng tao. May dalawa tayong principle na tinatawag na duty principle and goodwill principle. Una dito ang duty principle na ang ibig sabihin ay human are motivated by the duty to act morally or rationally instead of emotionally or without reason. Kant argue that duty or moral obligation is the very nature of the pure human reason. This means that as rational agents, people can grasp the moral principles and act out of his principle without the aid of experience and consideration of consequences. At pangalawa dito ang goodwill principle na sinasabi dito na nothing can be possibly be conceived in the world or even out of it which can be called will without classification except a goodwill. Goodwill. Kant's hold that fundamentally there is only one thing that is good in and of it, that goodwill. It is overreaching principle of all morality. Goodwill is a very nature of the person free will. Free will, as the ability of pure reason, is an absolute command of reason without classification. Thus goodwill can freely choose its moral duty dictated by reason alone. Goodwill is good by virtue of being an end in itself or as a means to only one end, which is good. It is then bad if the will is a means to another end or ends other than itself. The human reason produces a will that is universally good in it and absolute good. As universalist, the reason has only one end or good, which could be found in the will, reason, and person. That good is found in all activities or instances, and not only in some instances. Thus there should be no disparity between intention and act, intention and action. Should be one or good and they justify the end. As absolutists, the reason allow no exception or classification other than the good reason is objectively good in itself regardless if there is no one that approve of it. An act should absolutely and truly proceed, reflect and represent the intention. There are two categories, imperative and person as ends in themselves. Categorical imperative. Ang ibig sabihin naman nito ay act only according to that maxim, personal rule or general principle whereby you can at the same time will that it should. The other one is person as end principle. Parang sinasabi dito na act so that you treat people never as a mere means to an end, but always as end in themselves, or person as end in themselves, or second test. This person as ends in them. Principle is a second test that could be considered as the same with the golden rule. Treat others as you would like them to treat you, or Do to others what you want others do unto you. Parang sinasabi dito na kung ititreat mo sila ng tama, gagawin din nila sa'yo. Or pag sa mali mo namang ginawa, parang backfire, parang ganon. Pag kung ayaw mong gawin sa'yo, wag mong gawin sa kanila. Parang ganon siya. Tapos, the last one is end lawmaker principle. Or parang sinasabi dito na act as if you were through your maxims, lawmaker of kingdom of end. Parang can't think that person as ends are autonomous. Autonomous person are able to exercise free and goodwill by legislating the moral law for everyone. Every rational being is able to regard himself as a maker of universal law, not because of an external moral authority, but under the authority of his own reason alone. Being autonomous demands respect for ends or person have basis moral rights. The next one is 7 steps of applying Kant's model of ethical decision.
First, gather the fact. This involved identifying the key players, understanding the context of the situation, and carefully considering all available data. Kant's emphasis on reason and impartiality is crucial here. We must strive to be objective in our fact-finding, avoiding biases or preconceived notions that could distort our understanding. Second, determine the ethical issues, telling a lie or telling the truth. Third, what principle have a bearing on the case? Categorical imperative. This holds that an action is good or right if it can be universalized. Telling the truth is a universal duty. This recognizes and promotes that persons should be respected because they are persons, and it is a duty to treat others as ends. Besides, it is what comes from goodwill or pure reason. Fourth, list the alternatives. Maybe it is alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 3, so on and so forth. Fifth, compare the alternative with principles. And to the last, weight the consequences. This is not applicable because consequences do not matter at all, even if there are good, better, and best consequences. The basis should still and always be the goodwill or intention. Last, make a decision. We have to think through Kant principles of goodwill, categorical imperative, and persons and in themselves. How far should we tell the truth? Right theories or right-based steps are ethical or moral framework that consider rights as moral standards of the rightness or wrongness of behaviors. Right are moral right, either prohibiting behavior that cannot be done against or allowing behaviors that can be done to individual. Contractual right theories. These thinkers hold that rights are stipulations guaranteed by a certain valid contract between peoples. They also uphold right business contracts according to Hobbes, Jeans, Jacques, and Rosea, and Locke. Consider right in a social construct between the government and its citizen, as right surrendered to the authority in exchange for protection of their remaining rights, including the right to social order.
Natural right theories. Greek like Aristotle had long believed that rights are natural rights that re-inherited from nature and reason, like the rights to life, freedom, poverty, and pursuit. of happiness. Many modern thinkers like Hugo Grotius, Thomas Hobbes, Samuel von Provendorf, and John Locke were natural theorists. Ang mga natural rights theories ay mga pilosopo o tagapag-isip na naniniwala na ang mga karapatan ng tao ay likas na bahagi ng kanyang pagkatao at hindi maaaring bawiin o ipagkait ng sinuman maging ng gobyerno. Ang mga karapatang ito ay umiiral dahil tao ang isang individual, hindi dahil sa batas o kasunduan. Ayon sa kanila, ang mga halimbawa ng natural rights ay ang karapatan ng buhay, kalayaan at pag-aari, or life, liberty, and property. Sinasabi rin nila na ang karapatang ito ay mula sa kalikasan, Diyos o moralidad, at kailangang igalang at protektahan ng lahat ng tao at pamahalaan. Isa sa mga kilalang natural right theorist ay si John Locke, na nagbigay diin sa kahalagaan ng mga karapatang ito bilang batayan ng karunungang lipunan at gobyerno. Instrumental right theories, consequentialist and utilitarianists like Jeremy Bentham, John Stuart Mill, and Henry Sidgwick describe right as part of rule instrumental in achievement and optimal distribution of advantage or greatest utility or happiness for number of people. Pure egalitarian theories also contend that rights lead to the achievement of a more equal distribution of advantage, whereas the prioritarian theories go beyond by giving extra weight to the interests of the less privileged. And the next one is contractual right theories. These thinkers hold that rights are stipulation granted by a certain valid contract between peoples. They also uphold rights in business, social contracts between the government and its citizen as rights surrendered to the authority in exchange for protection of their remaining rights, including their rights to social order.
Right theories are ethical or moral framework that consider rights as moral standards of the rightness or wrongness of behaviors. Ito din yung nako-consider as deontological theories because the rights themselves are duties, reasons that everyone ought to obey regardless of any circumstances or consequence. There are two different kinds of moral rights that arise from being part of a social community which recognize the inherent worth of a human being to one another. It is brought out from the basic respect and value one gives to another person. For example, a person has the rights theories or right-based ethics. These theories are ethical or moral framework that consider rights as moral standard or the rightness or wrongness of behaviors. Right theories are considered deontological theories because the rights themselves are duties. Moral rights. Rights that arise from being part of a social community which recognize the inherent worth of a human being to one another. It is brought out from the basic respect and value one gives another person. Moral rights to expect others to give her credit for her works. Ito yung nagbibigay ng respect and value to one another person. Ito din ang nagpapaangat sa being social community which recognize the inherent worth of a human being.